Welcome to Wisdom of the World. Today I'm going to tell a story from Myanmar, and that is called Why the Hare Became a Judge. The story is about situations where you know what is right and what is wrong, but you cannot prove it. What do you do in such a situation? And it goes like this. Once upon a time, there were two farmers. One was a bit of a sly farmer, and the other was more of a simple farmer, but straightforward. The sly farmer had a cow that was about to give birth, and the simple farmer, who was his neighbor, had a horse that was also about to foal, so also about to give birth. The sly farmer was a bit of a insomniac. He couldn't sleep so good at night, so when the delivery of these animals started to take place, he immediately woke up from the noise, and he looked around, and he got his flashlight out, and he shone, and he saw that his cow had indeed given birth to a beautiful calf. And his neighbor, the simple farmer, who was a good sleeper, had obviously not woke up. So he went over there, and he saw the beautiful horse laying there, this beautiful colt. And he saw this was a golden chance, so he brings over the calf from his and puts it with the horse, and the little horse the little foal brings it over to the cow. He basically swapped the recent born animals. Then he went back to sleep, but he also realized that he shouldn't sleep very long, because the villagers would wake up, and his neighbor probably would accuse him. So he got all the other villagers, he went over there, and he got them to come and to witness this, what he called a miracle, a quirk of nature. And all the villagers, they saw this with their own eyes. They couldn't believe it. They said, yes, this must be indeed a miracle. This is so strange, but yes, it must have blah, blah, blah. Until the simple farmer comes and just says, hey, you stole my baby horse. Yeah, that's very clear. It's the only explanation. This is if the birth of our animals would not have been at the same moment, maybe your story would have been more credible, but now you just stole it, he said. And the smarter farmer said, no, it's just, how dare you accuse me? It's just a miracle, it's a surprise of nature. And so they started arguing, and the villagers didn't really know. They just see two neighbors arguing, and they didn't know who was right and who was wrong. So this was a very small village, so they decided to go to another village to find an impartial judge. So they go, and on the way they meet a hare. A hare, by the way, is like a rabbit, but it isn't a rabbit. It's got slightly longer ears, but very common in Myanmar. And the hares were known as very competent and able judges at that time. So when they met a hare, they were very happy. And the hare listened to their case he listened very good. He got a detailed explanation of both point of views. And he said, listen, I'm happy to be the judge in this case, but I'm very busy. This turned out to be a hare who was widely renowned and just in high demand. He says, I'll come back in a week to your village, and there I will preside over this case. But make sure all the witnesses and everybody who's involved are there, and at daybreak, when the sun comes out, first rays, I'll be there. Now, everybody had to wait a week. They accepted that. But the village started to also take sides. This one was pro this, pro the sly farmer, the other pro the simple farmer. And this once so peaceful village, was up in turmoil, was very divided. So this case had everybody's attention. So when the day that the Hare said he was going to come back arrived, everybody was there. The whole village was there. They all sat there, and they knew that the Hare was not only renowned for his competence as a judge, but also for his punctuality. So I figured he would be there right at the first sunlight. So they waited. They were all there, and he didn't come. The Hare didn't come. He didn't come in the morning. The morning passed, and the afternoon set in, and people waited and waited and waited and waited. And just as they finally thought, okay, he's just simply not going to come, the Hare showed up. And, because the villagers had all been waiting for a whole day, they were eager to ask him, why are you so late? And he said, he was not upset at all about that question. He just said, listen, on the way, something very crazy happened. I saw in the middle of the river, I saw this sandbank just all glowing red. It was all on fire. But I also saw a rattan basket close by. And so it took me the whole day to extinguish that fire with the water in that rattan basket. And so most people thought that was a bit of an odd story, but okay, the Hare was there, that's fine. And he was, very well known. But the sly farmer thought, hey, this story is weird, it's not right. So he thought, I'm going to show how smart I am. So he said to the Hare, listen, that story of you, why you are late, a sandbank in the middle of a river catching fire, that's crazy. That will never happen. And you extinguishing it with a rattan basket, rattan baskets, leak water like anything. They're like a sieve. So there's no way you could have extinguished any fire with that. As a matter of fact, everything you told us is just not, it cannot be true because it goes against the laws of nature. And then the Hare was actually very pleased with the explanation given by this farmer. And he says, yes, you're right. It is really against the law of nature. And as you are so well versed in the laws of nature, wouldn't you agree with me that it's also against the law of nature that a horse would give birth to a baby cow and a cow would give birth to a baby horse? So my judgment in this case is that you return the horse, the foal, back to its owner, your neighbor, the farmer. It was just a swap. Now all the villagers were extremely happy with this judgment because they knew something wasn't right. They knew actually that could never be true, but they couldn't prove it. So now you understand why in those days in Myanmar, everybody was looking for a Hare to be their judge, because they were just great as judges. Okay, why am I telling you this story? I think anybody has been in a situation where you know something is right and you know what is right and what is wrong, but you cannot prove it. So my suggestion to everybody is that in that situation, trust your intuition. Just that. If you're mindful, I think that helps, obviously, with having a clearer sense of what's right and what's wrong. Just trust your intuition. Trust that tiny little voice in you that knows best. Thank you.